Hi, so the next graph that we're going to look at are called stem and leaf plots. And in stem and leaf plot, the data is organized from least to greatest. So this is a really good time, obviously, to have numbers as your data. In fact, you can't do stem and leaf plots unless your data is numbers. And that if you want to do something dealing with putting them in order from least to greatest, and I'm sure that would probably spark finding perhaps the median, the mode, the range, maybe even the mean if we need to. The digits of the least place value usually form the leaves. The next place value digits form the stems. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here in this example. So it says to display the data in the table above, which we can't see the table. I'll actually show you what that looks like in just a second, into a stem and leaf plot. Okay, so here's our table of numbers. I just had to make that up really quickly so I could show you what this looks like. So step 1 says to choose the stems using the digits in the tens place. So if you take a look at our numbers over here on the right upper hand corner, I see that we have single digits, that would be the 6, the 7, the 5. We have numbers in the tens, all those numbers 19, 11, 10, 13, 12, so on, and numbers in our 20s, 25, 21, 20, and 21. So that tells me that my stems are going to need to be 0, 1, and 2. From there, we're going to go ahead and make our stem and leaf plot. So our stem and leaf plot, it's right there. It's the start of one. It's basically like a T-chart where you have, here's that T that I'm talking about, that T-chart. Here's my stems, my 0, 1s, and 2s, and then my leaves. The leaves are the numbers that are coming second. So if you notice, even though like 6, we don't normally write 6 as 0, 6, we still have to have that 0 as our stem. So 0, 6, 0, 7, 0, 5, that accounts for these three numbers up at the top. Then my second row is all my numbers that are in the teens, 19, 10, 11, 13, 18, 22, and so on. And then the last one is the 25, 21, 20, and 21 again. One thing that this does not do is it does not have the numbers in order from least to greatest. And you do need to have the numbers in order from least to greatest. Your stems need to be in order from least to greatest, and your leaves need to be in order from least to greatest. So the next thing is to, step 3, order the leaves and write a key. So if you notice, this stem and leaf plot just changed, and it has all the leaves are in order from least to greatest. Now it also says that you need to include a key. The key, if you look at the very bottom, is right here. The key is representing that when I have 1 as a leaf, as a stem, and 2 as a leaf, I end up that equals 12. So you do need to make sure you include. Let's try a couple. It says to draw a stem and leaf plot for the given data numbers here. So when I look at this, I'm going to try to figure out what my stems are and what my leaves are. I'm looking to see what my smallest numbers are. I see that I've got numbers in the 40s, and I don't see anything bigger or smaller than 40. And I see that it goes all the way up to 90. So my stems are going to be in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Then from here, we're going to just fill in our leaves. I like to do this in order from least to greatest as I go. That way I'm not having to do things more than once. So the first thing I'm going to look for is all my numbers in the 40s. And I see right there that I have a 40, so I'm going to add a 0. I don't have to add a comma or anything. I can go right to the next number, which would be 41 that I see. I see a 45, a 47, and that would be it. So I'm going to add my 5 and my 7. And I'm going to make sure I cross those out also. All right, now let's move on to the 50s. And in the 50s, I see two 52s. So I'm going to add 2 2s. I also see two 56s. So I'm going to add 2 6s here. And I see a 59. And if you miss any of them, you can always go back and redo it and take a look and add it in. All right, for my 60s, I see a 61. I see two 64s. and I see a 67. For 70s, I see a 70. I also see a 78. And let's see, 80s, I've got two 80s there. And an 82. And an 86. And last one is my 90s, 97 and 98. So there's my stem and leaf plot. I do have to include a key, so I'm just going to write down here that my key, that when I have, and you can just pick any number, I'm just going to say when I have a number that has a stem of a 6 and a leaf as a 1, that equals 61. All right, let's try this one over here. And I put this one on here because this is a good example where you have more than 2 digits. So remember that your leaves always are just single digits. You cannot have more than one number over here. So your stem is where your double numbers come in. So if I see here, I have numbers that are in the 110s, and I have numbers that are in the 120s. So, and then I also have numbers, actually they're in the 140s. Now you do have to include the 130s. You can't skip those. You want to put them all nice and neat in order. All right, so for my numbers that are in my hundreds, I saw a 101. I also see a 104 and a 107. In the 110s, I see a 111. I see a 115 and a 118. In the 120s, there is two 123s. So I'm going to add 2 of those. A 127 and a 129. And the last ones, there is a 134. I did not see that, so I'm glad we definitely had that there. And then 142 and 148. And again, let's include our key. So when I have a number that has 12 and a 3, that would equal 123. And you do. All right, last example, we're not building a stem and leaf plot here. Here I'm going to show you what it looks like and how to use one when you already have one given to you. So it says the stem and leaf plot at the right shows bowling scores for 20 bowlers. Use the plot for exercises 1 through 3. Notice it even gives us a key. So it means that when we've got 13 on one side and 8 on the other, it's 138. It says what numbers make up the stems. The stems in this case are 10, 11, 12, and 13. Remember, those are your stems and this side is your leaves. Here it says, what are the leaves for stem 12? So we just have to list the stems, or the leaves. So that would be 4, 5, 9, and 9. And lastly, find the median, the mode, and the range. I'm going to find them down here. Median, mode, and range. And if it's all the same to you guys, I'm going to actually find the range first. Remember, to find range, we take the biggest number minus the smallest number. The biggest number, you'd go down to the bottom of your stems and the last leaf, so that would be 138, that's the biggest number, minus the smallest number, which would be the first stem and the first leaf, which would be 100. So my range is 38. The mode is the number that occurs most often. So we're going to just really look at the leaves. So in this first row, I see there are 3 4s. Here there are 3 5s. And those are the only 3. So we are actually going to have 2 modes. My mode here is going to be 104 and 115. Now for the median, if these numbers were all written all the way out, I would just go back and forth and marking them off until I got to the middle number. I'm going to do the same thing here. Remember, this one was the smallest number and this one was the biggest. And so you're just going to keep on going down. Until you get that middle number, which is 115. And that's how you can use a stem and leaf plot. Good luck!